Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. Today, with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I thought I would take a look at my fountain pen ink collection and pull out all of my green and gold inks. Okay, well no, not all of them, but my favorites. And I will be swatching them in my Hobonichi A5 notebook with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I'm also going to be swatching with my Browse ornament nib. This is the 3mm size, and I got this from a workshop that I did in San Francisco, but you can try and purchase these on PenChalet, and this is on the River City Penco nib holder. And then I'll also be doing some writing samples with my Kakimori stainless steel nib, and this is on a nib holder given to me by Zodiac Penco. Let's get started. The first green on this list is Andrewilium Spirula Green. And this was a green that I wasn't actually sure if it's one that I would ink up. And I had thought on a few occasions that I was actually going to give this ink away. But the more that I see it, and even the more that I swatch it, I just think it's such a lovely, beautiful, bright green, and why am I not going to keep this in my collection? It's just beautiful. So we have here Andrewilium Spirula or Spirula, I'm not sure, green. And definitely one of those inks. This is one of the reasons why I do these ink explorations, is to revisit my collection again. Isn't that lovely? Gorgeous. Next, we have our first gold ink, and I'm going to say this now, the inks that I classify as gold are going to range from like yellow to kind of orange, so bear with me here. The first one that I'm pulling into the gold category is from Amarillo Stationery, and it is Toasty Joggers. You've seen me swatch this one before, and I really love this one because it really is a lovely kind of burnt golden orangey yellow color. Like, isn't that just lovely? And this is a really great ink as well. It's not too in your face, but it's still really legible. I'm actually going to add a little bit more in here to add a bit more shading. Lovely. And I'm always trying to find an excuse to swatch my inks because we have so many inks nowadays, and I'm definitely not going to use up all my ink just by writing with them. So ink swatching for videos like this helps me really appreciate my collection and use my collection. So that's Amarillo Stationery Toasty Joggers. The next we have in our green category is Colorverse Alpha Pisces. Again, I purchased this a few years ago from PenChalet, and it's one that I've had in my collection for a while. And again, I've been tempted on a few occasions to sell it, and then I swatch it like this and then ink it up in a pen, and I'm like, no, there's a reason that I bought this ink, because it's lovely. I love the kind of muted gray green of this ink. It's just lovely, and it shades beautifully. And I always like revisiting pens or inks that have been in my collection for a while, because it's not always about the newest thing. It's really about appreciating what you have in your collection and why you bought it in the first place. Beautiful green. Again, I love the tones of this. So that's Colorverse Alpha Pisces. Next in the gold category, we have Birmingham Penco Barley. This was given to me by pen friend Pam, and she knows how much I love this and has given me many samples over the last couple of years to make sure that I don't go without. And I do have to admit, I haven't used this in a while just because Birmingham Penco inks did not do well in my journal. They definitely bled through, and that wasn't really a fault of the ink. It was more of the paper. But again, I'm reminded why I love this. It's kind of like a lighter yellow, definitely more towards the gold. And I didn't think I would like this color as much as I do, but there's something joyful in yellow or gold. I really like this. So that is Birmingham Penco Barley. The next in the green category is Diamine Canal Side. This one was given to me by pen friend Ina, and her favorite color is green, and the amount of green inks that she has in her collection is definitely like GOAT standard, greatest of all time standard. The amount of greens in her collection and just how beautiful each one of them is. Gorgeous. Look at the beautiful dark tones of this ink. Just feels very mysterious, but still lovely. So we have Diamine Canal Side. And actually, when I was pulling all of the inks for this video, I was like, I probably don't have a lot of green inks, and I was actually surprised by how many I have. I really need to use them more. So Diamine Canal Side. The next in the gold category, we have Diamine Amber. I love these small bottles from Diamine. For one, you can definitely fit more on your shelf than you can with the glass bottles, but also I love the fact that they're plastic, because I'm always afraid I'm going to knock down a bottle and just have that glass shatter everywhere. Now this one is definitely leaning more towards the orange rather than the gold, but I wanted to show an ink that was also legible, because some yellow inks aren't as legible, but the ones that I'm showing here definitely are. So then we have Diamine Amber. Again, definitely leaning a little bit more towards the orange, but still a really lovely, well-behaved ink. The next in the green category is another ink that I've had in my collection for quite some time. It is a Diamine Meadow. I don't want to say that I have a ton of Diamine inks in my collection, but I think out of all of the brands of inks that I have, Diamine is probably the one that I have the most of, just because Diamine is so well behaved, but also they have a huge selection of different colors. And out of like the shimmer inks, Diamine is definitely my favorite. They just behave so well. And I realize this is not a shimmer ink, but I'm just basically spouting the beautiful ink that is the Diamine brand. So Diamine Meadow. This is a really beautiful spring summer ink. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous green. Diamine Meadow. Next in the gold category, we have Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. This one, unfortunately, is no longer being produced, but it's one of those inks that I didn't think that I would like. And then when I did write with it, I thought, I like yellow, gold. Like, who knew? And I mean, I did do a video quite a few months ago trying to find a buttered popcorn dupe. And one of the closest ones is actually Diamine Amber, which I just swatched. But it's just this beautiful yellow that is still actually very legible. So we have Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. And for those who don't know me as well, movie theater buttered popcorn is one of my favorite foods. Love it. The next one I have in the green category is Diamine Sugar Snap. This one was from, this is a 2023 Inkvent calendar, and it is a shimmer ink. I'm surprised I don't have more shimmer inks in here. Oh no, wait, I have two more coming after this one. Of course I do. Because an ink exploration wouldn't be complete without just one shimmer ink. But I like this because it's more like I say apple green with beautiful shimmer. Look at that. And shimmer inks from Diamine always work well for me, even in fine or extra fine nibs. So we have Diamine Sugar Snap. Lovely. And I don't feel like you have to wait until the holiday season to use it. I definitely think you could use this in spring or summer. Beautiful. The next one in the gold category is Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes. And I apologize in advance that, especially with the Ferris Wheel Press ink, some of these are not going to be readily available anymore. But I wanted to showcase the ones that I thought were the closest to gold in my collection. And this one definitely is probably out of like the traditional gold, probably the most like gold out of all of these. Oh, I just spilled it. So we have Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes. Yeah, definitely out of all of the golds. Oops, wishes. This is the one that I think most resembles gold. Lovely. The next one in the green category is one of my favorites, Diamine Cappadocia. This one was an exclusive from Galen Leather. And again, another one that I don't think is readily available anymore, so I do apologize for that. But I think this is also what I love about going back and using up what I have, is appreciating some of these ones that are more limited edition. This is a wonderful dark green with kind of green gold shimmer and a little bit of a red sheen once it's dried. Really lovely for the holidays. So we have Diamine Cappadocia. Beautiful. And again, of course, I had to have a shimmer ink in here. Just look at that beautiful dark green. This next one in the gold category, I'm literally on like the last dregs of this. It is Pelikan Edelstein Golden Beryl. This one I feel like I'm hoarding because it's no longer available and it's just stunning. Can you take a look at that? Like what's happening inside the bottle there with all of that shimmer. Again, there we go. This one definitely looks a little bit more orange than gold. And I feel like it goes down like Ferris Wheel Press buttered popcorn, but then with shimmer. Who thought I would like yellow like this? So we have Pelikan, Edelstein, Golden Beryl. And this one definitely just hits you in the face with all of that shimmer. Not mad about that at all. This next one in the, oh no, I'm in the green category. The next one in the green category is going to be one of my favorites. It's Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss. This one I purchased at my local stationery store after looking for this online for so long and not being able to find it. And then thankfully it was at my local fountain pen stationery store. And it's just one of those greens that is like a dark foresty green and it just shades beautifully. This is one of the things that I love about fountain pen inks and all the different colors is that there's so many in even just one color family. Like the amount of greens that we're able to look at and swatch with and write with, and the amount of inks in every color family. Amazing. So we have Ferris Wheel Press, and this is Peter Moss. Highly recommend this one if you can find it. Just look at that. Gorgeous. The next in the gold category might have some of you basically coming at me because you'll be like, this isn't gold, it's brown. But this is my ink video and I'm saying that it's in the gold category. It's Pilot Iroshizuku Ina Ho. And one of the reasons why I'm putting it in this category is because even just the translation of it to, I believe it's, the translation really is the one, well, it's got the brown gold color and it's named after the fields of rice ears that turn golden before harvest. So this is definitely, I think, one that should be in this category. And another one that I do apologize, this is discontinued. But again, just because it's discontinued doesn't mean I can't use it if I have it in my collection. Wait for that to dry. It's just stunning. So we have Pilot, and you can see how wet this ink is. Iroshizuku Ina Ho. Look at that. I can't get over that. It's stunning. One of my favorites. The next we have in the green category is Pilot Shinryoku. And I'm including this, even though it's not an ink that I actually reach for a lot. If anything, this bottle is in my collection. My husband is the one who uses this ink more than I do, but I wanted to include it because of, well, basically, I wanted to show the huge variation there is in all the greens, because there are so many greens, and some definitely lean a little bit more towards like a teal, and I think this one does as well, but just the variation in all the greens, even on this one page, is amazing. I always like to do an exploration of the inks that I have in my collection, because if we don't actually go into our collections and start using them, then what's the point? This is lovely. Definitely leaning a little more teal than the other greens, but good to show the tones of greens here. So Pilot Iroshizuku Shinryoku. Next in the gold category, we have Pilot Iroshizuku Toro. And this is one of the newer ones. I think they came out last year. Pilot in the last couple of years have started to discontinue a few inks and then replace them with other ones. And Toro was one of the ones that came out in, I think, 2025. Or 2024, I cannot remember. But this one is definitely more towards like the orangey gold. And could be another dupe for buttered popcorn. So here we go again, Pilot. Oh my gosh, such a wet ink. Pilot Iroshizuku Toro. Lovely. It's going to shade beautifully, and I cannot wait to show you once that's dried. The last in my green category is Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. Now, I know it doesn't look green on the bottle, it looks more brown, but trust me on this one when I think this is actually one of the better or more gorgeous dark greens. And it shades beautifully. I'm actually going to be doing a video later this month to showcase all of my shading inks, and that might take a while because many of these do shade beautifully, and I want to find the best way to showcase them. And sometimes doing the swatches with the Browse ornament nib doesn't really do that, so I'm gonna have to think about the best way to do that. Now this ink doesn't look like much now, but when it dries, it's got a dark green with some brown. Really lovely. Just look at that. That's why I love doing this swatch with the Kakimori stainless steel nib, because you can really see the tones of that color. So Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. And last but not least, another one that you may not think is in the gold category, but I feel like all of my ink explorations are kind of like that. It is Teranishi Nostalgic Honey. I only have a sample of this, and part of me is tempted to get a bottle, but I'm trying to be really good this year. Well, I'm trying to be really good every year anyway, in terms of what I end up purchasing or what bottles I bring into my ink collection. Because after a while, you can get really overwhelmed with what you have, which doesn't really help you appreciate what you have. Look at that color. Oh, stunning. So this again is Teranishi Nostalgic Honey. And you can see why I love it. It's got beautiful golden tones, a little bit more brown orange, but I think it just works really well here. So there are all of the inks all on the page there, and I'll bring you a little closer so you can see what it looks like once they're all dried. So here we go for those first 9. Okay. I have these inks in my collection because I absolutely love them. So I'm not going to choose a favorite out of these, but I just want to say that I haven't really used Andrew Williams Spirula Green in, well, very recently. So I definitely want to put that into a pen in either spring or summer. I currently have Colorverse Alpha Pisces in a pen and I am loving it. And I'm so glad that I still have this in my collection, and there's quite a big bottle of it. Meadow Stationery Toasty Joggers is such a beautiful ink. I don't think I have anything else like it, and it's one that I highly recommend buying one from Meadow Stationery if Eric has any in stock. Birmingham Penco Barley, it's a lovely soft yellow, but still actually really, really legible. Diamine Canal Side, I don't feel like there's anything else in my collection quite like it, and I'm very thankful for Ina for giving me a sample of this. Diamine Amber, another great yellow leaning more towards the orange that is really legible and behaves really well in a pen. Diamine Meadow, I think, is a great green for anyone starting in the fountain pen hobby to have in their collection. It's a really lovely spring summery green, but also just behaves really well in a pen. And then we have Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. Again, not currently available as it was a limited edition, but a yellow that, funny enough, is actually legible. And I've tried a few yellows in my time over this hobby, and being able to find a yellow that is legible has been difficult, but Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn as well as Diamine Amber are two very good ones there. And then we have Diamine Sugar Snap, a lovely summery green with a hint of silver shimmer. I think that just makes it absolutely beautiful. So then to the next 9, we have Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, which definitely has a lot of shimmer, but is leaning more towards the brown in terms of the gold, like kind of like a champagne gold. I'm thinking of that Sailor Yoseka pen where they had the yellow gold versus the champagne gold. And yeah, definitely. And then Diamine Cappadocia, such a great holiday green. It's got the green shimmer, the dark green, but also a little bit of that sheen. I think it's just perfect for the holidays. Pelikan Edelstein Golden Beryl. It's such a shame that this ink is no longer in production, but I think the Pelikan Ink of the Year this year is going to look somewhat similar. So I'm going to be very interested for when that ink comes out, how similar it's going to be in comparison to Golden Beryl. And then we have Ferris Wheel Peter Moss, one of my favorite greens because I feel like it's more of the grayish green and I like that tone a lot, but also this shades really, really well. And then it's not completely dry, but you can definitely see it in the writing sample and in the swatch here. Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, reminiscent of the shades of gold that the rice fields turn into. And it's, again, one of my favorites. Pilot Iroshizuku Shin Ryoku, not an ink that I actually use. That one I think is more part of my husband's collection, even though I'm the one who keeps the whole fountain pen ink collection, and he uses this as well. It's kind of a darker green, leaning more towards the teal. Then we have Pilot Iroshizuku Toro, another one that's leaning more orange. And this one was one that I also compared to Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. If you like the more orange tone of that ink, then Pilot Iroshizuku Toro is definitely a good substitute. And then Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. This one, I love this ink. I mean, in very highly saturated areas, it definitely looks more black. But then in the writing sample, you get a little bit more green, just like that tone. And there's a little bit of sheen in there as well. And then last but not least, Teranishi Nostalgic Honey. Definitely leaning more orangey brown than gold, but it's one of those that I didn't expect to like as much as I do, but it is stunning. So there are all the green and gold inks that I wanted to showcase for the upcoming St. Patrick's Day. What are some of your favorite green and gold inks? It was funny enough for me to do this ink exploration because green, unfortunately, is not an ink color that I use as often. But then once I pulled out all of the green inks that I had in my collection, I thought I really need to use these more because they're stunning. And there's so many variations between the different greens and the different golds. Such an interesting just variation of what I have here. Let me know what your favorites are from here, but also what the favorites are in your own collection. All right, that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. And for those who are wondering about my nails, I just got them done at the salon. It's like a little cat's eye type of deal. Ooh, I love that. And unfortunately, I don't know the color, but my nail salon lady is just amazing. And okay, that is it. Thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a great day.